Hey y'all, I am Julianne Tackett and I'm a personal injury attorney here in Louisville, Kentucky. And I recently had the pleasure and the honor of meeting this character that I'm going to introduce y'all to today. His name is Dr. John Hans Gilderbloom. John, why don't you first tell him a little bit about where you grew up and where you went to school?
I grew up in San Francisco and I was raised in a great environment in the 60s. And in the 70s, I went to University of California, Santa Barbara and shocked everyone because I ended up graduating at the top of my class in 1975 with not only just a 4.0 average, but a 4.03 A plus average. So I'm told that I was the top of the whole University of California system. Got a scholarship to go to graduate school and got an invitation to go to Berkeley, but I really liked my advisors and stayed there. And it was very much an environmentally conscious place. They just had a huge oil spill and I wanted to learn what makes cities great. And they were doing studies that were award-winning with Harvey Mulch and Richard Applebaum and Roger Friedland were really great, inspiring people.
So you actually lived through something that spurred this love on. Like you saw it and you're like, that's cool, I want to go into it.
Yeah, I love beautiful cities and, homes and neighborhoods. And I left the University of California, went to Wisconsin for 2 years and forgot that it wasn't California weather. Bought a fishing cabin.
No, it's not.
Bought a fishing cabin and froze to death. Spent there 2 years. And then I went to Houston, which was really radical. But Houston was great because the Republicans at the time, George Bush wanted to do work on disability rights. And we were given the money to do a big study on that. And we documented the needs of 2,000 people and the need for curb cuts, handrails, bathrooms, accessibility, which is a moral thing to do.
Absolutely.
You don't want attendants working 24/7, wiping your butt, and you want independence and so on to cook and get dressed and take a shower and so on. So we did that, and the Eleanor Tinsley said that we were in Houston. We provided the data to make it pass, and so millions of people are happy. I should also add too, we document the fact that the stores that they're served, whether it's an airplane or a supermarket or a restaurant, would make more money because if you give access to that, it's really good. We found when we went to Russia, they don't have any such things, I got to speak there and talk about accessibility rights. So we're very proud of that. At the same time, I worked on homeless issues, and President Reagan wanted to ban money going to cities that were provided for eviction protection or rent controls. And we wrote a book on that called Rent Control Sourcebook, became a bestseller called The Bible of the Renters Movement. And it was self-published, but it just took off and it became, how to organize, how to write the bills and everything. And today we have millions of people covered by rent controls or eviction controls. And it's been California, the whole state is covered, Washington, Oregon, New Jersey has 110 cities. And roughly we estimate 20% of the population now, renters, is protected by these laws. So we're very proud of that. And of course, I was attacked by that as well, very much, and experienced a traumatic effect where they kept on threatening me and they kept on saying, if you don't stop, we're going to neutralize you and we're going to do that. And then one day, this man knocked on the door and I opened the door and had a gun and had me sit down on my knees and put the gun in my head, my ear. And I felt the rush and he just said, we're tired of what you do. You need to shut up. And he shot me and I pretended I was dead. And he ran away. Didn't steal anything or anything like that, just ran away.
Now, did that discourage you or motivate you?
It motivated me. My dad said, even before that happened, I said, Daddy, they're going to kill me if I continue doing this. And he said, look, I raised you to have a spine, not be a jellyfish. And I'll support you all the way. He said, these same people are calling me, threatening me for what you do. I'm so proud of you. I want you to continue on. So it's like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, as I say. And I've never shied away from a big fight. And my big fight now, of course, is climate change. And that's what all these awards are for. You can see working with Woody Harrelson over there was a great experience because we wanted to promote the idea of hemp and and marijuana, and it would be good for the farmers.
Mm-hmm.
We have a great place, a great state to do it. And they lost so much of their land because they had to shut down the tobacco industry. So that's been a good relationship. And of course, you can see over here, Bill Clinton, I was an economist here at the School of Business, and Bill Clinton hired me to do analysis. We were able to go to the inauguration. We sat with the president, and the doors really opened. And of course, you can see over there on the other wall, the New York Times piece written about me, about how the university should promote a better quality of life and fight for those who are down and out. And kind of like the work you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people have been wronged and you fight for that. And, you know, we got all these awards. You can see from Henry Cisneros actually did a whole piece on me and wrote the introduction to my book. And, you know, everyone wants to make a difference. But the thing is, I was a public intellectual.
Mm-hmm.
So I was one of the few people that would get out and write articles in the Courier Journal, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, Chicago papers, San Francisco Chronicle, Los Angeles Times, Houston Chronicle, and got out there, and it was a very effective way to promote legislation. We also got help from, where's Mitch McConnell? There he is, right up there in the corner. Mitch McConnell supported us in our research to create friendship tours in Cuba. And Cuba I came over there thinking, like, the way the propaganda was, that this was supposed to be some great place to be, but it wasn't. You know, no toilets, no toilet paper, no toilet seats, they're all torn out, and people have to squat on the street to get that done. And, you know, you can't live a life with $25 a month stipend. You can't buy shoes, you can't buy. So we worked a lot in bringing healthcare there. When Michael Moore talked about the glories of the system there, it's just for tourists.
Mm-hmm.
They called health tourism. That was a great experience, and I keep speaking out. I got arrested in Cuba for documenting the troubled lives of them.
Really?
Yeah. And they seized a lot of the photographs showing. In fact, over here, I have a whole issue of that. Oh yeah, this was the infamous missile that was pointed at Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
I was able to tour the whole place and document it. We did a whole show.
Wow.
This is contemporary housing in Cuba. All dilapidated. The castles are still there. What else do we have? This was, all these was built 100 years ago, and just socialism just didn't work very well. And so I got in a spat with the far radical left and here, and they didn't like what I was saying about, that socialism was an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about it earlier that I'm a common sense liberal, but even that, I guess the bigger thing that we found was the awards. You can see back there if you turn around, you can see my picture up there, John Gilder-Bloom, and got the outstanding 2-time winner, most ever outstanding scholarship and so on.
That's awesome.
And then I got the university medal, presidential medal for my research.
And let's not forget the wonderful, beautiful Miss Jane Fonda is up there, and you know her and she's your friend.
Mm-hmm.
That is so cool.
And we're working on a film with her that we hope to do, and that's very exciting. We actually met up with Chris Nolan, who's won 3 Emmy Awards, and his picture you can find on the website, climateofhopefilm.org, and it features me and my work, and I think it sort of freaked out the University of Louisville. They go, what is this guy talking about? And then on top of it, I have my book coming out on climate change called Climate Chaos, Killing People, Places, and the Planet. Mm-hmm. And this really upset the industries that are polluting in Louisville. Louisville, in our study of 144 medium-sized cities, is ranked number 2 in terms of being most polluted in West Louisville, where people, believe it or not, died 14 years earlier. And their cancer rates are 3 times higher, according to CDC reports. Asthma rates are 2 times higher. Liver disease is 3 times higher. dementia is caused by this. And more importantly,
Pretty sure heart disease is well up there too.
Heart disease. But the worst thing is, it's just not older people, but it's young kids have the lowest proficiency scores in the state. And you take the same demographic group there, and half of them can't read, half of them can't do math, and that's a ticket to jail. You can literally calculate how many jail cells you're going to need. Because you don't have education, it's bad news.
We just do better from the start.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, these are third graders, and they're starting out. My late wife, who was a great teacher and worked in West Louisville, would see it by herself. She not only got sick there, but she worked with other people, students, and they would the dust would come in at night, and when they would release a lot of the toxic materials, and they'd have to clean the desk. The students would have to clean the desk, but that was even more deadly to get that done. They should have had that janitorial doing it. But they keep building schools there on toxic waste sites and so on. And we had a grant for $3.5 million to improve West Louisville. We hooked up with the developers and did all these plans about how to build decent housing, not just decent housing, but workable housing that inhibited crime, encouraged people to go to work, created democracy and a more civil life. And I started out with this woman, Marilyn Maconian, and she was just an angel. And she started first in Washington, D.C., Paradise, and turned an old abandoned public housing thing into a really nice place. And then came here at the invitation of HUD, and we worked together. We built 550 or renewed 550 units of housing.
That's awesome.
And then I got really good at, this is what I do. I plan good cities, good neighborhoods. And I got to do work in Covington and also in Newport with the government. I was their person and was very excited about that. And we produced, I think, we do partnerships. What we were doing was planning good cities. And in the end, in Louisville itself, working with the great Sam Watkins, Louisville Central Development Corporation, and now with my former student, Kevin Fields, we produced over 1,000 houses in West Louisville, including City View Park, which won numerous awards. And then I was asked by HUD to work in Newport and Covington. That produced another 500 houses. Overall, they might have given me $3.5 million, but we created over $100 million in wealth and investments. Wow. And the number of jobs created. I was hired in Washington, D.C. by Andrew Cuomo, who was nice to me. He didn't harass me. And he was quite a character. And so we estimated that for every $1 million, you create 17 jobs. And most of them go to people, 60% of them go to people without high school educations. And they're good jobs. They, construction, plumbing, electricity. And that's who's doing that kind of work. And so we created thousands of jobs here in Kentucky.
And that must be so rewarding because it's your research, your hard work, but you get to see what you're doing in people's lives and, look at the results and see what's happening and see it, not just on a paper, not a thesis paper or whatever it's going to be, or a journal article, but you get to see what you're doing for people and helping vulnerable populations.
Exactly. What's problematic for me is we're a government-funded, state-funded institution. We got roughly 2,000 faculty members, and they don't want to do anything that offends, that attacks the big corporations, the puppet masters, I call them,
right,
who decide who's going to be our leaders, from the governor to the city council to the mayor, and they support that. And they said, stay away from polluters, do not attack them. And this is a long history. When Rachel Carson did Silent Spring, the great 1960 environmental book, she was attacked mostly by a group here who did not like her attacks on DDT and that sort of thing. And then later, there was attacks on the tobacco industry, and they gave them death threats and so on.
And let's not forget Erin Brockovich out in California.
That's exactly. She's my hero.
She's one of my heroes.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
My COO and paralegal actually has a shirt that says, "Real life Erin Brockovich, They're
Really?
called boobs, Ed. Mine says real life Elwoods. But no. And I think that brought it kind of to the masses in a way that you could see it and you could digest it and understand it. Like, wait a second. Companies are really doing this kind of thing.
Yeah, and the other model we had was the Love Canal by Niagara Falls in 1877, Hooker Chemical, which I'm writing another article about that.
Dr. Gilder Bloom, we have heard about your background and we got to see all your cool pictures and awards and life well lived, I will say. Helping people and doing good with amazing people and being recognized for it. And Louisville will miss you in the terms of that. But although you've retired, are you just going to sit at home, do nothing, fish?
Well, I'm not a very good fisherman. But no, we're really energized because we have the film with Chris Nolan, climateofhopefilm.org. You can see it. And he's the real deal. He saw my story. We had dinner together. And 3 days later, he had a whole film script about me.
Wow.
And we're working with a number of funders. If we can do this film, it'll go out to millions of people. Arizona State University has the best, most respected environmental program. So we're doing a lot of talking with them. We're talking with junior colleges, Stanford, University of California, Berkeley, San Diego, very interested in promoting the book and making it a success. The book is called, it's going to be released in March of 2025, and it's called Climate Chaos, Killing People, Places, and the Planet. And it's not about doom and gloom. It's about hope and about how to restructure it and looking at capitalist countries, not socialist, but capitalist countries, reducing to net zero, releasing greenhouse gases.
Okay, and if anybody out there wants to buy the book, where is that? Is it going to be on Amazon? Do it through your website?
It'll be on my website, sunlouisville.org, and that's a good point. They took down the website here, and actually, believe it or not, they shredded a lot of the documents we had, but the book itself represents a lot of the stuff that was destroyed by people in the administration, and that's very, very exciting. We talk about that. So no, I'm not retiring. I love writing. I love making trouble. Good trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, make good trouble.
As one dean said, you're a troublemaker. I said, good trouble. It's
Good
really
trouble.
Good, doing that.
Yeah.
So,
They say whoever came up with "Let Sleeping Dogs Lie" was a dog. So you gotta fight them when you can.
hell yeah. Yeah.
So the book's coming out.
The film will later come out. They're looking at, they want to do it at the various film festivals like Venice.
Oh, wow.
And he really wants to get that award. And there's a little one in Utah that they like to do in Park City.
Park City, that's right.
They won't hope to do it at the Sundance Film Festival. They're aiming at doing something in Venice and also at Cannes in
Would this be for next year, as in 2026 or
2025.
Oh, there's
You know.
this year. Wow.
And it's really, like I said, they're trying to get an institutional relationship going. And we offered it at U of L. They don't want to do it. But we're really, really energized. And now my next book is going to be called Fearless, and talking about the stories I learned in my, revealing what I worked with, showing, for example, the Patty Hearst case, that I worked on, and the farm workers and their needs and so on.
Well, I will say this as a plug, because this book has not been written, but I've only known you for a few days, and your stories have been just fantastic.
Thank you.
And entertaining, and I'm sure your book will be as well. And City of Louisville will miss you. You've done great things, but you're going to keep kicking butt and helping people that need it and speaking out for those who can't speak out for themselves, and for people that are being hurt and they don't even know it,
I know.
which is just a shame. And typically those are, people that don't have as much money as education. They could be different races, and that's sickening. So for you fighting that, that's badass.
I like to say we like to uncover the cover-up.
We do too.
We like to, there is a great cover-up, You would not know.
Oh.
The citizens don't realize there's 75,000 pounds of toxins released in West Louisville, 1.2 pounds per person. Well, then you know why they're dying so sooner than later. Why they're proficient, why they're absent because they're sick and taking all this stuff. And you know, you ought to we want to get to the root of the problem, and we can.
Yeah.
We've actually went the KISD, Kentucky Institute for Environment and Sustainable Development, out of U of L, showed that you can just with a little bit of regulation, you could stop these toxins from coming out, down by 95%.
Really?
Yeah, it's an easy thing to do. Or like say the liquor industry. In California, they have laws with a wine company about the what's called the black mold,
Mm-hmm.
which gets on. You can go through West Louisville and see that, and they won't do anything about regulating that. You know, it's like it can be done so easily. Same thing, wine is liquor, and so is the bourbon here.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But we can actually map it out. My book is showing how liquor distilleries actually destroy neighborhoods too. And because it's not pretty to see this kind of black mold on houses and so on, and no one wants to buy it. There's houses there in West Louisville going for $11,000, $12,000, $15,000, and it's terrible, terrible. And I go to too many funerals with people much younger than me dying, like my wife. Very sad, very sad.
Well, Dr. Gilder Bloom, I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and get to see all of this. It's been amazing, and I cannot wait to read your book and see the movie.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be with you. You're a rock star.